read a book called Not Zero. It's basically ripping net zero. I am by no means a total climate change denier, but I also believe in the realms of reasonability. And Scotland is not at all responsible for carrying the brunt of other countries' lack of care for emissions. And at the end of the day, all net zero is designed to do, in my opinion, is impoverish common people, and it still won't make a difference because of mega industrialist countries like China and India. All it's going to do is impoverish the working person. That's it. Doesn't affect, like, for example, I said this before and I got a lot of backlash for it, and I'm not saying it as like you should be doing something different because of this thing. I'm saying it because when you think about it, it actually makes sense in terms of a greater agenda. The cost of living crisis is an affordability issue for many people. Like, my electricity and gas bills have went up about 2x over the past couple of years. Do I like it? No. Is it causing me an issue? Also no. So, again, that is proving my point. It is going to impoverish people with in average income households or low income households. That's exactly what it's going to do. So, for me, looking at the overall situation, I feel like it's very easy to solve this, or it's very easy to try some different things in an attempt to solve this. That's my opinion, and I feel like you almost can't disagree with it. I feel like you can't. Someone will find a way to say that me saying this makes me some horrible whatever, Tory, even though I've never voted. Because I get called that all the time. People are like, oh, you're a Tory this, you're a Tory that. What, because I've made some money, had a couple of nice cars? No, my voting would show you different, right? Like, it's just the stupidest thing ever. It just goes to show how emotionally charged the tolerant left are. Tolerant left, eh? It's nuts. So, I should say the tolerant hyper left, because I know plenty presenting left-leaning people that are totally fine, but the people who are these super tolerant, amazing, hyper left-wing people are like borderline bloody terrorists with some of the stuff they say and how they act. Is absolutely ridiculous. Some of the most embarrassing stuff you'll ever see in your life. So, moving on from that issue just for a second and just touching on the ULEZ, because I mentioned that a second ago. Like, this was when I realised the ULEZ was so unbelievably ridiculous, right? The ULEZ was coming into play, and at that point, I had 3 cars. And my dad had a pickup truck and a van. He still has. And my dad done a lot of different subcontracting work. He's an electrician. My dad done a lot of different subcontracting work in the city centre in Glasgow. And it made up maybe 20% of his income. Now, my dad was saying to me, oh, are all your cars ULEZ compliant? So I said, oh, I haven't actually checked. So I'll go and check. So I've went on and I put in my X3M competition. So I'm going to give you some stats on these cars for a second, right? 3 litre, 515 brake horsepower, twin turbo, flat 6. Very, very fast SUV, petrol powered, loud, aggressive car, high idle, no soft limiter, bad MPG, right? Put it in. ULEZ compliant. Oh, okay. I'm going to do this in terms of engine size. Next one. 3.8 litre, twin turbo, V8, 570 brake horsepower, 650 Newton meters of torque, McLaren supercar. Not good MPG, very loud, ULEZ compliant. Oh, McLaren. And then this last one, I was thinking, there's no way. There's no way. Especially because you can make the argument, okay, X3M's only 3 years old or something like that at the time. So, modern technology, fine. And McLaren was like 5 years old. Modern technology, fine. But then I had like a 10-year-old, but slightly more than that, Rolls Royce. It was an amazing car. I absolutely loved it. And that the Ghost hadn't changed for like the last 14, 15 years. So, the spec was great. And I got it in a swap anyway. So, it was It's one of those cars you end up with and had great fun with. 6.75 litre twin turbo V12, averaging 9 miles to the gallon. ULEZ compliant. Now, why do I say this? Richards are telling us of the ULEZ compliance of your cars. It's not that interesting. My dad's 1.5 DCI diesel Vauxhall Vivaro 2017 or something, non-ULEZ compliant, working man's vehicle. And the funny thing is, I think my dad has like a 17 plate. The 67 of that vehicle had one software change that means that that's ULEZ compliant. So my dad then loses 20% of his income because of this ULEZ stuff.